I Am Cologne has been going on for a few days, and we've already seen the elimination of one of the favorites to win the tournament in Team Spirit. And not only did they get eliminated, but they got absolutely destroyed in this event. And I wanted to take a look at two of the games that they played, that being the one versus MongolZ and the game versus G2, and see exactly what went wrong. And then I want to discuss with you if the era of Team Spirit being one of the best teams in the world is over. And we'll get right into that after a quick word from our sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by SkinsMonkey. SkinsMonkey is a site where you could trade skins that you already have to get some skins that you might want. That way you can hop into your next game with some fresh new skins. All you have to do is log into the site through Steam, put in the skins that you don't want anymore, grab the skins that you do, and then click trade. Trades happen almost immediately, and any balance that you don't use in the trade will roll over for a trade that you might do in the future. Right now you can get a free $5 if you were to use code Austin on the site, and if you were to use my code you would get an additional 5% on top of the 30% deposit bonus. So let's say if you deposit $100, that means you would get $135 if you use my code to deposit. So make sure you guys check out SkinsMonkey, and let's get right back into the video. Okay, so we've got Team Spirit versus MongolZ up first. Of course, we are going to be taking a look at this game as well as the G2 game in this review. And I do actually want to bring up some things pretty early on here. I want to address what I said in the intro to this is, do I think that Team Spirit is no longer a #1 team in the world contender? And the answer is, of course, I don't think that. They had one bad event. But what I do think that an event like this proves is that their lows are extremely low. And that is not an exaggeration. I mean, they only win 4 rounds in this game, and then they win 1 round in the game of Nuke that we're going to be paying attention to. So without further ado, let's hop into the review. So we have a pretty standard round here for Team Spirit. It's going to be a default. Now in this round they're going to be working A main. They're also going to be working B main and taking mid, like I said, at the default, so nothing crazy. But what I do want you to see pretty early on here in the map is MongolZ is going to cross into the left side of B main while his team is taking in towards A main. And the reason he's doing that is because the CTs have actually smoked B main, so he's going to take advantage of this smoke and he's going to creep onto the left side. Now the reason that he's doing this is most likely because the IGL has called for them to end B in this round. Now a lot of IGLs have different styles. I don't know if this is Chopper's style, but from him being so committed into B main, I can only assume that they plan on ending B here. So what happens? Now we have B main, we have A main, and so Chopper is going to start taking mid. This is exactly what you want. And why is that? Well, whenever you take map control, most of the time, the CTs in reaction will take back some map control. So we have somebody on this side of B main, we have somebody in A main, and we're going to push into mid, which is going to force the CTs to take back A main and B main. This is very standard for Anubis. This is how the default works. And the way that this works is, whenever they reaggress into B main or A main, we're hoping that our lurks will get the kills, and it should be a pretty easy round. I mean, they shouldn't be expecting magics here, right? Exactly, that's the idea. So Zontix is going to be holding A main. He's actually going to win his duel on somebody reaggressing him, but in the meantime, Magix is going to be on the other side. And I want you to think about this from Team Spirit's perspective before we watch this duel. They just had their A lurk win their fight at A. So they're going to say, well, you know what we're going to do is we're going to come back E-box or connector if you're from EU. We're going to come back E-box. We're going to split B. Chopper's going to drop off the bridge. I mean, look at where he's standing. Chopper, that is. He's in the hole here. He's ready to drop down because they're going to split B. And that makes sense because if you're on MongolZ side after the A player dies, most of the time somebody's going to come cover mid. We're going to have another A player, and then B becomes weak just by how the flow of the map works. But the problem is that in this round, they decide to reaggress B main anyway, and then Magix actually goes down. Now, this wouldn't be a big deal if it wasn't for the fact that they just left A main, and now Chopper has committed to the drop. So they were going for a B split, but they lost the person they're splitting with. And if they all try to come through E-box here, there's nothing really that they can do because they're getting crossfired from B main and from Palace. So they have to hit the brakes, and they do that. I'm going to fast forward for 30 seconds here. They're finally going. They did nothing. They couldn't take back A main. They got smoked off. They couldn't go back to mid. They don't know what's there. So they just sit in canal for 30 seconds, and then they end up going E-box, but it's too late. It's too late. Even though the round becomes a little convincing because the individuals get some kills, they just get shut down here, and that's that. And that is that. And when we want to talk about like what went wrong for Team Spirit in Cologne, this round might not seem that convincing. This is just a standard round loss. You could argue that they lost because of unfortunate reaggression in B main. But when we're looking at they win 4 rounds on this map and 1 round on Nuke, something went wrong. Something went wrong. And I'm not sure if it's the fact that they put all their eggs in one basket in that round. I'm not sure if it's just normally Donk will bail them out. I'm not sure. I really am not. So Either way, we have another half buy round here. We're going to go for the classic A rush. Now, this one is a pretty unique way of doing it. So what they're doing is they actually have Shiro on B main, and Zontex is throwing the nades for the A rush, but he's going to go through spawn, and they're going to try to sneak a plant down at B. Well, that doesn't go very well because the A player plays beautiful CS, by the way, just plays to stay alive. He could be taking these fights. He doesn't want to. He's just going to live. And because they never really get any kills and Team Spirit don't die, the B players don't see a reason to rotate, and so they won't. And you're going to see here, it pretty much just goes into like this really late round, like awkward B fight where they want to sneak the bomb down, but it doesn't end up happening, then they leave. Yeah, like, you see, it's another one of these rounds where it's like, I'm not really sure what the plan was here. I mean, like, I get it, like, you want to get the bomb down. Maybe we go for the A rush, but it's like, why wouldn't you just have Shiro go with them? Do we really think that we can run all the way back to sneak the bomb down at B from the chaos that they're creating at A? I don't. I wouldn't have ever called this, even in the divisions that I play in. I don't think that that's going to work. I don't know why they thought they would work here, but whatever. You know what? We go on to the next round. It was a half buy. I can appreciate the small things, right? You know, maybe that's just a round where, like, yeah, you know, if they win, if we get some nice kills, it could be good. If not, then whatever. We're going to the gun round. And I'm going to be honest with you. The next 4 rounds that we're about to watch are really good. You can tell that the idea here for Spirit is, if they're not winning in the default, we should go into some set pieces, some set strategies that we have set up. And that's what you're about to see. For the next 4 rounds, Team Spirit is going to win them in a row. Starting with this first round here, which is going to be the classic send Zontex and Donk in together. And what they're doing here is they're contacting in A main. Zontex is an A player, by the way, so he understands the timings. That's why they have him going first. And also, he is the guy that normally takes A main. So if this kill does come in onto Zontex, most of the time, the Mongols are going to be like, okay, that's the normal guy. It's probably just him. So that's why they're sending Donk in behind him to get that quick trade and maybe catch people off. Now, I want you to really pay attention to the radar here. The supporting crew here is actually already setting up nades. Like, they're getting ready to. They haven't set them up yet, but they're about to set up nades because they're just going to send them in and they're going to go for a set piece. Now, Chopper is also coming back. He just put a little mid pressure, and look at what's happened. They are fighting mid. They're committed to get that info, and it actually is so far so good for Spirit. I really like this round. And so the exec's about to come in. We'll watch this from Donk's POV. They're just going to contact in here. Util comes in, boom, and everything goes well. Pretty much a flawless execute there, and that's it. The other team is going to save. They don't have a choice. It's just classic Anubis. They save. Okay, perfect. So we won a round on a set exec. Didn't have to try too hard to work the map. We just went in for the exec, and it worked out. So naturally, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? So they go in and they go to do it again. Now they do it on a different timing this round. The same concept applies. They're trying to bait. By the way, small detail. Look at this, Miss Molotov. You might think, well, they mollied A main. Maybe I could peek into the upper. Set up by design, by the way. Set up by design. And so we have Zontex and Donk coming in together. And look at this. This is normally what you see. Zontex gets a double kill. The round is over again. You know, you have your individuals. They shine bright as ever. And Donk and Zontex just enter into the site. Another A execute. It goes their way. Now, I want you to think about this from the Mongols' perspective. Well, we've just lost 2 rounds to A execs, right? So naturally, we want to make sure that we, you know, fortify that position a little bit. That's why they're starting 2 here again. They want to make sure nothing goes wrong. Chopper knows that that's probably something they want to do. They want to do a little bit of a different setup at A, make sure that you can't do that. So they go right into a B execute. Same concept applies. They just get in this lurk smoke that Magix throws every round, and they just do a little B pop. Wow, they're working them. There's only one person here. There's only one person here. Did you see what happened? In the meantime, they did a canal crunch. They wanted to stop this A execute from happening. Well, these guys never went through A main, but they were there. They did a canal crunch. And the idea was just, well, we're going to catch them in canal, but no. There's not a lot to talk about here because this is the expert tier calling that I'm saying. The problem is that when you get into these situations where only your set strategies are working, well, eventually they're not going to work. I mean, the Mongols is they're a pretty good team, and they're not just going to lose to set execs every round. So we get another one here. We get Zontex and Donk going in together against a half buy, and we've seen this round so many times now. We got the mollies, the smokes. It's just an exec, right? Okay, so that's 4 rounds in a row for the boys. 4 rounds in a row. They're about to lose out. Now, I want you to really just take a deep breath here and get ready, because they're going to try to do the same thing. So we saw exactly, they saw what we saw, which is that they could get away with these A execs every single round. And so the difference is that this round, they don't want to go for another execute, which I don't blame them. You know, you go for 4 set strats in a row, eventually it's not going to work out anymore. And so they do a little bit of a default here. They're just working the map control, you know, pressuring E-box. We have Magix out here in B main like always. Chopper is coming up to get ready to pressure mid. Zontex is throwing some util in, you know, they traded util in A main. You know, it's a pretty standard round, and Chopper is going to catch this gap in mid. Very standard. Again, you can't really hold mid. Mid's not a bomb site, so it's okay to sometimes leave this open as long as you have an opper who, in this case, can spot this camera cross, and if they do end up splitting B, you have the third person there to deal with it, right? Pretty standard. Chopper's going to catch this gap, and they're going to get ready to go for a split. You might think this is a set strat. Not really. I mean, this isn't something that you call out of spawn. It just kind of ends up happening. But the problem in this round comes right here. There's 27 seconds on the clock here, and we're going to flash Donk into A main. Now, the flash is not going to blind Menzino, and it's going to be the first kill going the way of the Mongols. Now, that wouldn't normally be a big deal, but like I said, there's not a lot of time for them to do anything. 910 is going to back up, and he's going to push A main. Now, the majority of the time that there's a split happening, a lot of people are going to be coming through camera, like the majority most of the time. Not in this case, but most of the time that's the case. So they're going to actually focus on A main, because if they focus A main, normally there's only 1 or 2 people here. In this case, there's 3, but I'm just telling you standard. This is normally how it goes. And the players can flank from E-box, and you can actually try to hold on to A main. And most of the time, that's going to be a successful way for the CTs to fight. So that's why 910 is rotating in here, and he's going to get here just in time to help his teammate. His teammate eventually goes down, but 910 is on an island. He should go down, the bomb to be planted, except for that Chopper is deathly afraid of the opera looking at him. He does everything he can. He says, hey, look at me, I'm right here. Hey, look at me. Hey, look at me. And then eventually he peeks right into him and dies. But it's like, why doesn't he just kind of work with his teammate here? They don't have a ton of time to be going for these kind of plays. I mean, he does get traded, but now there's only 10 seconds on the clock. And the difference is that there's really no way they're going to be able to pull this off, because Shiro's still close camera with the bomb. It's over. Okay, well, you know what? They lost 1 round after the 4-round streak they had. It's not the end of the world, except it actually is the beginning of the end. So now the problem with the way that Spirit has been playing is so far they've only won their execs, and then on top of that, their defaults are very heavy in canals, and that's something that you can know just from this game, but also if you watch Spirit in general. They haven't done a round where they sent a few guys B main and had a fight. They had the 1 B pop through the lurk smoke, but other than that, it's just been kind of Magix on his own. And if you're the Mongols here, you kind of understand that, right? They're not just going to run into another set exec more than likely, and if you do a well-timed B aggression here, you're probably going to catch Magix alone, and that's exactly what's going to happen. The rest of the squad is doing a default. They get denied in A main by 1 guy, by the way, which is perfect, and eventually Magix is going to be, well, they're going to push him here, and they're going to come in. Here it comes. He's any second now. He's about to go down. Hold up. There it is. He goes down, and what's happened now? Well, I'll tell you what's happened. We've lost everything. And the problem is that we don't have somebody taking E-box. We don't have A main. It's gotten stuffed. And Shiro's in spawn grabbing the bomb. Okay. So things haven't gone very well. And this is not necessarily from a tactical standpoint. It's more from a conditioning standpoint. They have conditioned the Mongols to be used to them being in canals. And they don't use this against them. So instead of having a round where maybe they default B and take the fights, the Mongols is just going to do the opposite, and they're going to fight B because they know that Magix is alone. And that's going to start them in a 5v4 with no map control, so they're going to be forced to go into this A hit. But the problem is like I said, they're forced. Look at how many people are here. The exec just now is coming in, and there's already 3 people here. I don't even need to watch the rest of the round, and you pretty much know what's going to happen. Despite Zontex and Donk being the iconic duo that they are, they get absolutely handled. And the round is just over. So that's kind of what I'm saying. It's like they don't seem to be aware of their tendencies, and at least in this game. Now, I'm not talking about in always, or maybe, I don't know, maybe it's some 5D chess. If Chopper ever were to watch this video, he might be like, this idiot, he doesn't understand that I know they know, so I did this. It's like, dude, I don't know. But I'm just looking at what I see on the radar, and from my perspective, it seems like, well, you're always in canal, always taking E-box, always working mid, but you don't ever really have anything in towards B main, so that would make sense for them to want to push B main in around. So naturally, Chopper sees that. You know, he gets it now that it happened, so he's going to be in towards B main. You know, he's close to B main, ready to help. He eventually ends up leaving Magix, but, you know, they double up. So my point with this is that it's like, well, yeah, now after they just showed you they could push B main, now you're going to come here. Well, that's fine. That's exactly what they want. If you haven't paid attention, by the way, on the top here, they have 2 ops. 2 ops. Why? Well, they want to have one of them posted B main. It's because normally you start your opera here anyway, by the way, so this isn't like anything crazy, but it's like, you know that the opera is going to be here ready for this exact play. They're ready for something like this because it just makes sense to happen. They got Donk taking E-Box here. He's coming in. They trade util, but like I said, exactly what happens. And it's Chopper. I want you to think about this again. I always harp on how important nameplating is. It's Chopper that just died. They know Magix is the guy that's B. If you don't believe me, trust me, they know. They just killed him. He was there that one round on the right side of B main. They know he's that guy. So naturally, if Chopper dies, well, there's a pretty good chance there's still one more there. And Donk's pressuring E-Box, so what's it look like to you? It looks like it could be a B split, right? It does, and that's what they were planning on doing. And they've gotten completely stuffed. Chopper walks right into the first stop. They don't even know about the second op. By the way, look at how much I'm fast forwarding here. You saw, look, I want to show you this again. Just watch the radar while I fast forward it. They go mid, they're like, oh no, okay, they eventually make their way over here. I should have went all the way back, but they were like kind of deciding on what they want to do. They end up going into a B split. I want you to think about the round that they lost earlier, the first gun round, where they got shut down in Canal, they froze, and then they went E-Box anyway. Like they were getting ready to do the B main split, 4 through E-Box, 1 in B main. They lost Magix. They freeze and then go anyway. They do the same thing here. They freeze when they were getting ready to do the B split, and then they just do it anyway. I'm not sure why. Hit comes in, and it all pretty much goes wrong. 9-10 farms, Mizuno gets 2 through the smoke. Okay, but again, look at this. Look at it's very obvious what's happening here. They have 4 people here for the hit. They have 4 people B on the round they go B, and the round before they had 3 when they were going A. This isn't that MongolZ is just like making these insane gambles. No, like Spirit's not doing a very good job at hiding what they want to do. And for our last trick here, we have Team Spirit going for the same B pop that they went for earlier. Now, I want you to think about all of the context that's happened in this game and apply that to what the MongolZ is thinking. We did a bunch of A execs, we did a bunch of fast A main control. Now we've been putting a focus on B ever since you reminded us that B main exists by killing Magix. So last round Chopper went here, now this round they're going for that B pop again. The implication being that they're putting a lot more pressure on B, so the MongolZ feels comfortable with just having Mizuno come over here, molly A main, and then just go mid. You know, they're just going to lean towards mid, play retake A, because they're probably not going to come A again. And they're right. And look at the setup here for the boys. Now, they have 3 people in B. This is, again, very standard operas here and everything. But the difference is that their rotates aren't ages away. And that's going to be very important because this hit does work pretty well. I mean, they get the double trade from Magix. Where is he at? Yeah, they get the double trade from Magix. They get the site. But because the rotates were already gambled off of A, look at, they're already here. 2 E-Box and 1 is Palace. They're already here. There's no downtime. And so they don't ever really feel comfortable enough to get the bomb down. They don't have time. And because everybody's here, that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to deny before anything can get out of hand. And despite Shiro's best efforts, by the way, to win this clutch, there was really no way. The confidence from Blitz to walk through the smoke after his 2 teammates died is, I mean, that's also, you know, really cool. And there you have it. That's going to be 4 rounds. Also, might be worth noting that Spirit hadn't won a pistol in this map, which, I mean, like I said, I don't normally watch them. I think they're pretty boring tactically, but yeah, so they lose a pistol, they take a full eco afterwards, and we are here facing a 10-4 score line, and they're immediately going to go right into a nice A main setup. Remember, Zontix, he's the A main player. He's just going to be, you know, getting spotted if they're taking A main. It's all pretty standard stuff, and you know, Donk is our E-Box player. Typically, everything kind of just works. You know, the individuals are very strong. Zontix is going to, you know, do the exchange here, but something tragic happens in this round, which is exactly what happened to him earlier. If you remember, I talked about this tactical molly miss. Well, Zontix doesn't do this on purpose, and they took very, very big advantage of that, and he gets caught. He gets caught while they're doing a 3 mid stack because, you know, they're maybe somebody's rotating. Donk just came from B, Shiro just came from A, and yeah, it's unlucky for Zontix, I suppose. He was caught sleeping. Pretty bad round to get caught sleeping. Chopper also goes down, and now it's like, well, the A split is just, it's open. Now, luckily, they do have Shiro and Donk here, so there's a chance that they could maybe hold this, but Blitz, he does a really good job here, just, you know, keeping their attention. You know, he's like, he keeps shooting. You know, you see a lot of pros do this. They shoot walls just to, like, kind of get their attention to, like, look here. So that way the rest of the boys can go in through A and to take the site. Shiro knows what's happening, so he leaves, and he's like, well, Donk's also watching it. So it's like, it's not, like, the biggest mistake from him. Eventually, Donk is here, and Techno pulls up. And by the way, Techno pulls up like a boss with the MAC-10, and he just insta-kills both of them. Have you ever seen anything like that before? That's pretty insane. Anyway, so Zontix made some mistake in this round. Chopper He gets caught sleeping while looking at that smoke, and that's going to be the round. But you see, this is exactly what I'm saying. Like, you need to win these kinds of rounds if you want to win this game, and we're going to go right into the next round. They're going to do a full investment. They have attack pause going into this round, so Shiro is going to be jiggling. They're going to do the pretty much exact same setup, barring the fact that they don't have 3B at this start. Or, well, yeah, I think they had 3B. I could just be... maybe I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure, though. Chopper does a little mid-pressure, and then eventually he walks into 3B. All is well. Everything is perfect. Shiro's spotting camera. We also have Zontix doing the A main stuff, and we're pretty comfortable here. Zontix is going to go spot in towards mid. Remember, this is the same setup they had talked about before. I said it's okay to leave the mid gap as long as you have somebody spotting camera. Earlier I said the opper, but it still works if Zontix is doing what he's doing. If he spots, he smokes camera, kind of stops them from coming through. If they do, Zontix will be here, and he's going to have a really good fight versus them. And yeah, I mean, they could go, but Chopper will come and address that problem from B. So, pretty good. What isn't good, though, is if you have Shiro at the pillar without the op. Now, him having the FAMAS is not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but it is a really bad thing if he just randomly decides to take this fight. Now, I understand jiggle peeking and getting info, but the problem is that... Well, you see, the problem is very clear here. He literally got the dink off onto Mizzino before, but he has the FAMAS. Like, it's the gun. You have to play around the gun that you have, and in this case, the gun was not really good for what we were doing. And now Zontix is in a lot of trouble, and the round is pretty much going to go the way of MongolZ without any real issue here. They're going to get onto A site. Donk and Zontix are here together, and they're getting ready to challenge. Zontix is about to go down here, and then that's going to be that. There he goes, and now Donk is saving. Now, remember that video of Donk, of him, you know, just kind of staring off into his monitor. I can understand kind of how he's feeling now. I mean, remember, Donk is normally the guy that's like hard carrying in these kinds of games, and he's, you know, he hasn't really made a lot of mistakes in this game, and it just seems like his team is kind of stagnant here. But either way, we got the icing on the cake for Donk here as he's gonna, you know, duel this E-Box player, and this is the round he gets first pick. Very unfortunate. Senzu just hits him with the confidence play. He does this on purpose, by the way. It's not just because he felt like fighting Donk. He's actually doing that because they're getting ready to B-split, and he's just going to put that pressure on. He wants Donk to, you know, get caught off, maybe die, which he does. Or at the very least, we want to make sure we have E-Box because we're about to do the B-split. And once Donk dies, I mean, that's pretty much it. There's not a lot to be said here, and the round is just over. Okay, let's move on to the G2 game, and let's really have a look, because it was bad in this MongolZ game, but at the very least, you know, you can kind of see, maybe you can kind of understand what was going on here. All right, we've moved on to the G2 versus Spirit game instead. Now, of course, they don't win this pistol either, and they go for the second round bye. Now, in this round, they actually have a pretty decent chance. They end up going for an A stack, in which G2 actually execs right into. Not really sure they have the 5.7 close range. This is kind of best case scenario, but MongolZ is built different, and he's going to go out, get the kill on the chopper, and then of course MongolZ is going to step out as well, and the round is pretty much over. It is a 2-on-3, but Donk gets caught off here from Snacks as mid lurk, and the round kind of goes their way. Next round is a full eco, so we'll skip that, and now this is a round where I really want to just like kind of paint the picture. Now remember, Team Spirit, you know, this isn't just one game. This is a game that they have to play after getting upset 2-0 by MongolZ. They won, well, I think it was, hold on, let me just double check because I don't want to be wrong. I'm painting the picture. They won 13 rounds in their first map. They lost in overtime to MongolZ. And then after that, they lost 13-4. And then they're just coming off the back of this first map here in this game where they lost 13-3 to G2. And now they're about to lose 13-1. You got to think about it. They're getting progressively worse. They have sort of, you know, you can see that they're getting a little burnt here. They're starting to play a little sloppy. They're starting to miss a lot of shots. They're very clearly bothered by the losses that they've, and they should be, by the way, but if you want to be some of the best players in the world, you have to be able to shake those feelings. Okay. So what we have here is we have another round where mid control is taken from G2, and we want to go ahead and retake mid. Now this is pretty standard from the CTs, but what isn't though is Zontix comes up here and he's getting ready to duel into MongolZ. Doesn't see anything, and MongolZ is going to spot him here. Now off the back of MongolZ spotting him here, he's actually going to toss a molly into window. Hold on any second, now it's coming. The molly's coming. Here it comes any second. Molly into window, and Zontix decides to fight through it. Now that is fine because normally he's doing this because he wants to, you know, they're getting ready to retake mid. He goes a little early. MongolZ deals with him. Off the back of that, the plan isn't finished because Chopper and Donk are going to walk through connector. Now, I'm not going to lie. They do catch Snacks off guard, but that's like catching Hooksy off guard. You know, it's not really going to matter because look at Nico, MongolZ, MongolZ. All three of those guys are in mid, and you just get handled And now Magix, he's also going to go down, and the round just ends in mid right away. And I don't necessarily dislike the idea of refighting mid control. I just don't like the way that it was done. You have so our win condition is Zontix peeks mid through a molly, and we have two guys walk through smoke. Like, it doesn't seem that well thought out. All right, moving on, we've got the only round that Team Spirit is going to win this game. Now, it's going to come off the back of the duo of Zontix and Donk. They're always good for a round a game. Sometimes literally just one round, like in this case. But either way, we have the classic mid fight here. Nothing too crazy. We're going to boost Shiro up into the window. I know you can't see much, but he boosts him into the ladder, and everything is pretty much just, you know, chilling. Zontix and Donk are going to be together in connector, and pretty shortly, everything's going to fall into place. Now, we are watching this from Zontix POV. Mirage is, you know, it takes a little bit of time here, so I'm fast forwarding a lot. He's going to come up close, just like he did last round, by the way. He's just kind of spotting in towards lower, ready to take that fight. He must like it a lot. I mean, it just sucks that the one round he fought it, he had to run through the molly. This time he's going to peek Hunter off of him, throwing that smoke. A good sound cue to peek off of. Off the back of that, Donk is going to step out and get a kill as well. So far, so good. Donk, unfortunately, trapped. MongolZ is going to take him down. Obviously, Zontix is going to be spamming. He has a lineup. It's not really an actual lineup. It's just more of a feeling thing to spam that back wall. Catches MongolZ through the smoke, and there you go. They've shut down mid control. Zontix, of course, gets one kill here as well onto the A-lurk, and everything kind of just works from here on out. MongolZ tries to win a 1v3, but he's not going to, and there you have it. That's it. First round for Spirit. Only round for Spirit. We're moving on to round number 6. Now, in round number 6, we're going to see Snacks, who, I mean, I do like the way he calls it a little bit. Sometimes it's a little troll, but in this 3 or 4 rounds we're about to watch, I think it's pretty good. Now, they're going to go right into a B hit. Now, the idea being, now, okay, we did lose a round. Let's go right into a set strat. Let's win this round because we've practiced it a million times. We're going to reset the money, and we're going to be back in the driving seat. And that's pretty much exactly what happens. The start from Spirit here is pretty good. They had Zontix start Cat right away. Magix is throwing Util in the window, and then he rotates to double up B. And they end up in a pretty decent setup, but unfortunately the exec is too strong. We'll watch this from Magic's POV because I think it kind of illustrates how good the exec is. He burns to the molly. In the meantime that he was taking that fight, by the way, Zontix has gone down, and that's going to be the round. I'll spare you the details because the retake is just a save, because it always is on CT side. Next round we get a hard A exec. Again, we're seeing Snacks kind of go into like this little this like flow, like, you know, it's like you get into this as an IGL. It's like B exec, A exec, A exec, B exec. It's because it's all working, right? So it's easy to call when you're winning, and you know, the individuals are on right now, so it works. And the A hit is, of course, very well drilled. You see these situations where, you know, by the way, look at how good MongolZ is. He just used Chopper's lurk smoke against him. He just sat here in the smoke and said, yeah, I'm waiting for that guy to walk through, and he killed him. I mean, what are you gonna do? How is Chopper even supposed to call that? Like, yeah, he could be lurking my smoke. Like, he doesn't have time to call that. So really good play from MongolZ, and the rest of the team is just kind of gonna get the kills. That, by the way, kind of crazy that he made the smoke and then reloaded. And then Hunter steps through. By the way, Hunter had one of the best games he's ever had playing Spirit, and that was also something that they just did not need. Now, albeit everything has kind of gone the way of Spirit in this. You know, it looked really good for G2, but right here, Chopper bails them out after staying alive for so long. But it's MongolZ. And MongolZ has shadow advantage when Magix jumps up on top of Ticket. Now that's really unfortunate for him. Now the problem is that even though he's taking care of Magix, he does also know exactly where Chopper is. Remember, he just killed 2 of his teammates. So very unfortunate. MongolZ is going to... Too many M's in this game. Magix is going to go down to MongolZ, and it's going to be the one-on-one. Of course, it's Chopper versus MongolZ. I would always be favoring MongolZ in this situation, and eventually he's going to find the kill. I actually think that Chopper knows exactly what's coming, and there it is. So, I mean, that one's a fair round. I give that one to Spirit. You know, they gave it a good attempt. But it doesn't stop there, because now their money is, it's all right, because Chopper got a couple of kills on the MP9. They're going into this next round here. Now, this is what I said. You know, you have this iconic duo of Zontix and of Donk, but sometimes you live and sometimes you die by them, because look at what happens here. So I gotta appreciate the call from the G2 boys to just 5-man swing mid. I think this is kind of best demonstrated from Donk's POV, where he's about to see literally Zontix is about to see literally 5 people on a screen. Now, you might think you're watching matchmaking here, so it's a little silly, but I mean, realistically speaking, this is just one of those times where there's not much you could do. We're going to go ahead and skip the round because you know what happens after that. Zontix and Donk die, and they win the 5-on-3. Okay. Next round is round number 9, and in this round they're going to do a little half buy. Donk's going to start the round with a nice dig onto Snacks, but that's again the equivalent of killing Hooksy at the beginning of the round. Like G2 most of the time are playing 4v5, and granted Snacks has been better than Hooksy, but I mean I'm just telling you that G2 is no stranger to being in this situation, and now they have MongolZ instead of Nexa, so they're going to do exactly what they should do, which is they're going to put a little mid pressure, and eventually they're going to group up and they're all going to go out A main, which is what you want to see. And that's just, you know, it's just numbers, right? Chopper, he pushes into Palace there because, well, think about it from his perspective. You know, they just killed Snacks and he's thinking, well, if I push into Palace and I see that it's clear, maybe I can flank ramp, get the gun, we have enough time to stack B. Not a bad idea. But instead of getting that info, he gets the info that he's given the other team the round, because now it's a 4-on-4 and the rest of the squad has just pistols. So it's pretty much already over off the back of that. Chopper had the MP9. All right, round number 10 is going to start off pretty well for Spirit. Now G2 is taking mid control. Snacks is actually going to go down to Zontix. And off the back of that, remember what happened last time. Normally, if we think that we're going to lose mid, we give it up and we get ready to retake it. Now, instead of retaking it, we have Magix is going to be in apps, and they're going to go for a nice little A stack. Now, remember what G2 have done so far this game when they were in a 4v5. Even just the last round, they all grouped up and they went A together. Now this time we're going to counter this by, well, by the way, they're doing the same thing. They're 4-man about to walk up Khan, but we're going to counter this. You know, Team Spirit, good call. We're going to gamble stack the A. If they go B, hopefully Magix gets 1 and we win the retake. Pretty good, pretty straightforward. Zontix comes up here. He's doing the thing. He's doing the thing he always does. You know, getting a little info. And Hunter's going to get boosted up in the window. Now, small detail is he doesn't actually do anything with this. He just waits. He waits for his timing. Now, Shiro's going to be holding connector. Of course, we have Chopper in close ramp. In the meantime, by the way, just before these fights start taking place, Zontix has actually shifted back towards B. So they only have 3 people here at A. Shiro's going to miss a shot, and triple being extremely spammable means that it's only a matter of time before he goes down. And now Donk is like, well, they're about to come up Khan. Okay, but that's when Hunter reveals himself. He takes down Donk, leaving Chopper on literally an island. He is all alone, and there's not really a lot that he could do. He's going to get over towards default, but the Molly is going to force him out. He is in so much trouble. They know he has to be under balcony. It's only a matter of time, again, like I said, before he goes down. He's more than likely going to get spammed, or naded in this case. And now Chopper tries to stay alive as long as he can. He's trying to just distract them so that Zontix can come through jungle, but he dies before he can really get anything done. And there it is. Another round, 4v5 converted from G2. Like I said, they're pretty good at 4v5s, given that they had to play 4v5 for a long time. So it's not a big surprise that they've won 2 of them so far in this game. Round number 11 is a very good round from Spirit. I think tactically it makes sense. They've been losing a lot in mid, so they go for some mid control early on the CT side. And in return, you know, they get mid control. Everything is going pretty well, and they eventually give it just because it's that time in the round, and they go for an A stack, which I think is pretty decent. I do like the idea of going for a nice A stack here to get back just in time. But the problem is that I feel like the individuals are they just fight a little too much. Donk here in a second is about to just step out ramp, goes for the peek, right into MongolZ, and then of course Shiro goes for the trade, doesn't get the kill, but Chopper also has gone down to MongolZ. Eventually MongolZ will take down Shiro as well. I mean, it's kind of hard to keep track of the action because it all kind of happens like that, but again, you know, you just had 3 people on the site and they only got 1. They went 1 for 3. Now for the icing on the cake here, we do have the final round that Spirit's going to play on CT side. They have a pretty well educated read here, which is they're going to go for the 3-man B play and you know, let them have mid, because you know the round before they took mid, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world. They're going to start double cat. Everything looks decent so far, but of course, like I showed you earlier, the exec is pretty well drilled from the G2 guys, and it's also really easy when you have MongolZ jumping out of apps and just 2K'ing like that. I mean, not a lot that you could do. And of course, Zontix, he's got his. I mean, so far, it always feels like that, doesn't it, this game? I've been saying Zontix got his, Zontix is doing this. It's like, yeah, but the game is over. And, you know, you're seeing this 11-1 scoreline going into T-side, and they haven't really won a pistol so far that we've looked at, and I'm not here to spoil the day, but they are not winning this one either. And as you can see, kind of just goes another MongolZ 2K, and we have the final round that Spirit's going to be playing here at IEM Cologne. Now again, I said final because, well, you know what happens next. I mean, they don't have a lot to work with. They have 3 Deagles, a Tech 9, and a Scout. Not a lot of util either. And the thing is like, if you're G2 in this situation, you want to make sure that Spirit don't even get the beginning of a chance. You just want to kind of deal with them right away. Now, Nico knows that, so he's going to get close ramp. Of course, he's going to have his teammate flash him in. We just looked at that. And Nico's just going to go hunt, and Nico's got the MP9. Here comes the first kill. Zontix does get MongolZ, but like I said, it's pretty much already over. And Nico's going to farm. He's going to get his doll onto Shiro. He's got the scout, and Nico, he's going to hunt him. He's going to get the kill, and that's going to be the end of Team Spirit for this event. Now, I want to discuss some of the things here, what do I think is wrong for Spirit? It's a lot of things. You know, I think the calling could be a little stale. I feel like they're getting outclassed even by the Mongols. I mean, G2, of course, they looked really good against them. And yeah, I mean, the Mongols is outclassing them. Now, it has been a minute since Spirit have won an event, but they have still been placing pretty consistently at the events. They've been placing top 4. You know, they're very rarely missing playoffs. This is the first time, or actually probably the lowest that we've seen Team Spirit since this roster has started. And what do I think this really means for them? I don't think it means anything yet, but I do think that it is something that should be looked at. It is cause for concern for sure. I don't want this to be the new Spirit that we see at every event. I mean, it's not going to happen. This is, of course, a rare showing from Donk, rare showing from Zontix even, and I'm expecting them to bounce back in the next couple events, but we do know now that the floor for Spirit is very low, and I think it's worth keeping an eye out going into future events. And that's going to be it for me. If you guys did enjoy the review of both of these teams, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We're gonna have more demo reviews coming from Cologne. I want to do one every single day, and that's the plan. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Hit the little bell. Yeah, I said it. That's the first time I said that on my channel. Hit the bell so you guys can get those notifications when they go live. I'm out of here. Bye bye. Much love. Peace.